unreal because it's too much. But only, we'll see the mercy of that merciful when, we'll get into that life and, subhanallah, like as Maulana recited from the ayat, that لا لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة. So the people of the unsuccessful, they cannot be equal to the one who are successful. The promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are many. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all the ability to inshallah take the benefit of this life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with. Inshallah, we will. This is one of those opportunities that we have this weekend to inshallah get prepared for that. Are we ready, everybody? 5 more minutes, inshallah. Inshallah, in 5 minutes we'll start. The brothers can spend this time, inshallah, in zikr. One of the zikr mentioned that, you do after Fajr is, the person who says this 3 times after Fajr and 3 times after Maghrib, it is compulsory. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it wajib upon himself that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will please him in akhirah. That we read this hadith many times in Ta'lim. And what is that zikr? What is it? رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا وَبِمُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ نَبِيًّا وَرَسُولًا. That, I am pleased, Allah being my Rabb, Islam being my deen, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam being the Nabi and Messenger of Allah. And why would anybody not be pleased with it? These are from the huge bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah give us all the ability. There are many, many azkar, inshallah. We should try to memorize those and take the full benefit of these 2 very, very important times. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, we'll start in a few minutes once we are ready with the we are done. Okay, so inshallah, I think we are ready, alhamdulillah. So let me, inshallah, request and I am trying to, yes, so we know him, we call him Maulana Burhan. His full name is Maulana Zahid al-Haq. He completed his at Darul Adoom and his Alim course completion at Madrasa Arabiya Islamia, South Africa. Currently working as an English teacher and teacher of Islamic studies, Khatib for Masjid Quba, Brooklyn, and he is also an instructor at Peace Children's Academy. So inshallah, without any further ado, Maulana Burhan.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والجنة للموحدين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه العزيز: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. وقال الله تعالى: ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. وقال الله تعالى: ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. وقال الله تعالى: وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. وقال الله تعالى: لئن شكرتم لأزيدنكم. وقال الله تعالى: قد أفلح المؤمنون قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن في الجسد لمضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us life after death. When Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam used to recite the dua every morning, that, "O Allah, praise to you and thank you who gave me life after death." Because sleep, this is a temporary death, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us life after that. For some people, sleep, once they sleep, it starts off temporary and then it carries on forever. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we thank Allah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us life. What does that mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us another chance to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know the theme is about racism, But I requested that 3 days talking about racism. This is not something which is really practical, but definitely we should know about it. We should have immense knowledge about it, so that we can stop ourselves and stop our family and the community at large from this evil. But at the same time, we are here to take something back with us, right? Whether you're young, whether you're old, we are here to take something back with us, take something home, which is practical on the spot, right away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent us in this world for only one purpose. For only one purpose, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself elaborates in Surah Dhariyat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that I have not created man or jinnat except that they worship me. Except that they worship me. Now, worship has many definitions. Worship, not definition, but worship has many roads and many avenues. How can we please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the most important thing that we should remember in this world is the purification of the heart. The purification of the heart. No matter what you do, who you are, what you have, if our hearts are not pure, and I'll elaborate what do I mean by pure. If our hearts are not pure, then for us to enter Jannah, it will be almost impossible. Why does a person go to Jahannam? In the day of Qiyamah, after all the Hisab and Kitab, why does a person go to Jahannam? Before going to Jannah, a Muslim who's a sinful Muslim, he has Iman, he died with the kalima la ilaha illallah, but that person still enters the hellfire, and then after a little while, or after a long time, that person enters into Jannah. Why? Because he is sent into the fire to purify himself. So no person that has impurity in his heart can enter into Jannah, because Jannah itself is pure. So us coming into this world as human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says, that insan was created to be weak. The word insan in the Arabic language comes from the word nasiya yansa, which means to forget. Which means to forget in the Arabic language. We are such a creation who forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who forget about the duties that we have to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We forget about what we're supposed to do. And that's human nature. We make mistakes. But it's also our job to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's also our job to realize that we forgot about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's our job to purify ourselves. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentions in a hadith that inna fil jasadi la mudghah, that verily in the body there is a piece of flesh. In the body there is a piece of flesh. إِذَا صَلُحَتْ صَلُحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. If that piece of flesh is okay, if that piece of flesh is pure, then the whole body will be pure. The whole body will be pure, not biologically. The whole body will be pure, meaning if that person's heart is good, then whatever he does with his body, his speaking, his looking, his hearing, his doing will be good. In other words, it will be hard for that person to commit sin. وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ, but if that piece of flesh is corrupted, فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ, then the whole body will be corrupted. If that piece of flesh is corrupted, he doesn't take care of that piece of flesh, then whatever he does, he's looking at haram. He's talking about haram things. He's saying haram things. He's cursing. He's backbiting, slandering. He's listening to haram. With his hand, he's doing haram. With his leg, he's going towards haram. And then Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam, he tells us, Ala wahiya al-qalb, that piece of flesh is the heart. That piece of flesh, it is the heart. So purification of the heart is very, very essential. And then right now, I would like to mention a couple of things which we all know. Things that we have to do. But unfortunately, we do it because, we make it into a habit, unfortunately. We make it into adat. We forget that it's ibadah. We forget that it's worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every sajda that I do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets happy. Every dhikr that I make, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets happy. We do it because, we've been doing it since we were small, and it just becomes a habit. We don't think that this is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many of us come to the masjid, alhamdulillah, which is a very great thing. But we also think coming to the masjid is just, I have to pray in the masjid. My father did it, my grandfather did it, and my parents taught us to do it, so I'm doing it. That's the mindset that we have. But we shouldn't have that mindset. Every worship, every action of worship that we do should be with istihdar. We should think that I am doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in front of me. Mentioning a couple of things before I mention, like I said, what does it mean to purify the heart? See, us as human beings, we make mistakes. We're not machines that were programmed always to, do good. That's it. There's no evil in us. Of course, we're human beings. We make mistakes. And there are things which is called the diseases of the heart. Not medical disease, but spiritual disease. For example, pride. Right? Having pride, thinking that I am better than another person. Thinking yourself as superior and everyone else inferior. And this you can actually relate to our theme, racism. But that's what it means, that I am better than that other person. My group or my village or my nation is better than the other nations. So pride is almost the number one factor for a person entering into hell. Because Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned in a hadith more or less to the effect that a person who has an atom weight of arrogance, of pride, that is enough to destroy all his good deeds. Because an atom weight, a spark of pride, when a person has spark of pride, then that spark of pride, it eats up the good deeds, just like how fire, it burns down wood. To start a forest fire, all you need is what? A spark. All you need is a spark. To burn down a house, all you need is a spark. It starts off with a spark and it gets worse. And then everything is destroyed. Similarly, pride is something which when a person has pride, slowly it starts to increase. If it's not treated, then it starts to increase. Like cancer. It starts to increase and then all that person's good deeds are done. It's finished. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Another type of spiritual disease is jealousy. When a person is jealous about another person, why does he have that? Right? What does jealousy mean? That he has something which I don't have. I want that. I want that trait or that good habit of his, or a ni'mah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. I want that to be diminished from him, and I want it for myself. Jealousy, greed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you, and we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then you want more. You're not satisfied. You're not satisfied with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave, and you just want more to such an extent. Where does greed become very detrimental? When you want so much that you don't do shukr and you're ungrateful. Why? Why do I have less? Why does that person have more? That's also a spiritual disease. Another one is hate. When you hate someone, and it's not for the right cause. Because Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned that you can hate for Allah. Al-Hubbilillah wal-Bughdu lillah. That you can love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can hate for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it has to be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when a person hates for his own motives, not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's when things get wrong. Another thing is anger. Very, very, very important, because anger is something which destroys family ties between fathers and son, between husband and wife, between mother and father, between family relation. Anger is such that we don't think before we say something. For example, the example of talaq. A person gets very divorced. A person gets so mad, can't control his anger for small things. For small things, he says the wrong thing. He says the words of divorce, and then divorce takes place. And after he comes to his sense, after that anger cools down, he starts forgetting that what did I do? And then they go to the scholar, this what happened. But it's done. It's finished. Why? Because of anger. And for stupid things, small things. So these are spiritual disease of the heart. What I want to speak about is how can we purify these spiritual disease. And what I'm about to say are things that we already know, but we don't know the benefits behind it. The benefits behind it, which Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam mentioned in the hadith and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says about the person who spiritually purifies himself, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. We hear this surah all the time. Maybe we hear it in the Jummah Salah. In Surah Al-A'la, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, the successful person is the one who purifies himself, purifies his heart. Tazkiyatun nafs, they call it, to purify the soul. That person, if he can purify his soul, then everything will become, this person is successful. Why? Because everything starts to fall in place. Everything starts to fall in place. Now the question is, how do I purify myself? How do I purify myself? It's not a long course. There's no course for it. We just have to keep going. There's no such thing as, okay, I'm purified and that's it. I'm done. Certification of purification. No, it's nothing like that. Purification of the heart is a lifelong effort. It continues from cradle to the grave, from beginning till the end. You have to keep on doing, and we have to die in that condition, that my heart is purified. And only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will know. We can never be satisfied that, I'm good enough. There's no such thing as enough in the dictionary of Islam. There's no such thing. You have to keep going. Number one is salah. Very important. We pray our salah, like I mentioned, we pray our salah as if it's, it's a custom. We just pray, we just continue, and that's it. But then we see that we ask ourselves that I am praying, still there's so many wrong things that's taking place in my life. So many problems that I'm facing in my life. But I'm praying, I'm coming to the masjid. Now we have to look at the quality of our prayer. How are we praying? The scholars say that there's approximately 1.2 billion Muslims in this world. 1.2 billion Muslims in this world. From those Muslims, how many are praying? How many are at least praying? We're not asking about the quality. How many are at least praying, however they pray? From amongst those people, how many people are coming to the masjid and praying with Jamaat, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we all know the virtue for that. From amongst those who come to the masjid, how many are praying properly according to the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? According to the sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And amongst those who are praying according to the sunnah, how many of those people are praying with khushu and khudu, with concentration and devotion? This is something we should ask ourselves. This is the point that I want to get to. When a person starts to pray with khushu and khudu, then we can say this salah will purify him. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. We mentioned before that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the person who purifies himself is successful. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. That believer is successful. Who? الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. That believer who in his or her salah has concentration and devotion. Then you'll be successful. That's number one. That we should have concentration and devotion in our namaz. Think that I'm standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is not far away. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is close. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right in front of me. I am standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me pray with concentration. When a official comes, maybe a president, even if the president, whoever the president is, but if the president was to come to this, we will all stand up. Why? Because the president of the country, right? The prime minister or whoever, people of official, they come to the masjid, we'll stand up. We're gonna make sure if we have clothes that are not favorable, we're gonna start regretting them. Why didn't I wear a nice clothes? This guest came. When we stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the scholars say we should wear the best of attire, because we're standing in front of Allah, the Lord of the kings of this world, the Lord of the universe. So number one is salah, where Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions, the riwayat comes in Tabrani, where he says, أَوَّلُ مَا يُحَاسِبُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ الصَّلَاةِ. On the day of Qiyamah, the first thing that will be asked to the believers, the Muslims, is salah. إِذَا صَلُحَتْ صَلُحَ السَّائِرُ عَمَلِ. If his salah, very important, if his salah is good, if his salah is intact, then all of his actions, the rest of his hisab kitab, because we will have to give accountability to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if his salah is good, then we should believe that, inshallah, all of our action will come into place. But if the salat is bad, if our salah is not protected, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, حَافِظُوا عَلَى الصَّلَوَاتِ. Protect your namazes. If our salah is not okay, if it's not good, then all our actions, we know, we're going to have garbar, we're going to have problems in all of our actions in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah. That is about namaz. Now what happens, the benefits of salah, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, right? أُتْلُ مَا أُوحِيَ إِلَيْكَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ. This is also part of purifying our heart. Because salah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna salat, that salah is such an instrument that it protects a person from doing fahsha and munkar. Fahsha, the scholars, they say it's great sin, gunai kabira. When a person prays with concentration, then salah will protect that person from sin. Salah will protect that person from great sin. And munkar, the scholars, they say is shirk, disbelief. And there's different types of shirk. We have shirk saghir and shirk kabir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this will protect us from both types when a person prays with concentration. And sin is such, when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned that when a person does one sin, then a black spot comes in that person's heart. One black spot. Another sin, another black spot. Another sin, another black spot. Another sin, another black spot. To such an extent, that person, he continues to committing sins, then his heart turns black. His heart turns so black that when it's hard for him to even listen to good things. When he hears something good, when he hears the Quran, he can't take it anymore. When he hears the commands of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he hears the hadith, he can't take it. Why? Because the heart has been blackened because of sin. But when a person praises namaz, then this salah will protect him from you. This is the ayat of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. Then namaz is also invoking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that you want to seek help from me, then do it through salah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah. That seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many of us over here in the world, people's lives is full of problems. Some of us have financial problems. Some of us have spiritual problems. Some of us have family matters, family problems. Some of us have problems in school. Different medical problems, physical problems, mental issues. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that you want to get rid of these issues, these problems, right? Resort to salah. Go to salah. Wasta'inu. Seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through patience and through salah. Very, very important, especially for youngsters. Because this, when a person is young, that's the prime time of his life. Right? Problems come. Nobody wants problems, but problems gonna come. Maybe from the family side, from the school side, from the work side. But problems gonna come. And we have to face these problems. One of the way of facing these problems is resorting to salah. What are the punishment for disregarding salah? There's punishment for that as well. Just like how there's benefit for a person who performs salah, there's harms and there's punishment for people who disregard salah. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions bayn al-kufri wal iman tarku salah. That the differentiating factor, the factor that differentiates between iman and kufr, right? Being a Muslim and a non-Muslim is tarku salah. You leave namaz, you're out of the fold of Islam. You leave namaz intentionally. You leave namaz intentionally, then this will lead you to kufr. But when a person praises namaz, then we can say this person has iman. Some sort of iman this person, he has. Then Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he gives an example, a person who misses one salah unintentionally. A person who misses one salah intentionally, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentions, man fatatu salatun faka'annama witra ahluhu wa malu. The person who misses just one salah, it is as if he lost all his family and wealth. It comes in the books of hadith. Imagine you go home from work and you see that you lost all your wealth, you lost all your family. How much would you grieve? It's unimaginable. We can't even imagine that we're going to lose both at the same time. But Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions that missing salah is so detrimental that we don't understand. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam didn't mention what's going to happen. He just gave an example of what it is. That when a person misses his salah, it's like he lost everything. You lost your iman, you lose everything. You lost Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. the punishment in the hereafter, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Muddathir, he says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ رَهِينَةٌ إِلَّا أَصْحَابَ الْيَمِينِ فِي جَنَّاتٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. Then on the day of Qiyamah, the people who go to Jannah, they will get chances to come down to the people of Jahannam and talk to them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ رَهِينَةٌ, that every soul will get what he pledged for. إِلَّا أَصْحَابَ الْيَمِينِ, except the people of the right hand, of the right side. And who are the people? Those people who go to Jannah, they are the people of the right side. Those people who go to Jahannam, they are the people of the left side. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, إِلَّا أَصْحَابَ الْيَمِينِ فِي جَنَّاتٍ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. The people of Jannah, they will come down to the people of Jahannam and they will ask them that, يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ, that what happened to you? We saw you in the masjid. We saw you, in different places. We used to play together. We used to eat together. We lived together. We had fun together. What happened to you? What caused you to go to Jahannam? And us, we're in Jannah. These people, they will say, عَنِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ مَا سَلَقَكُمْ. They will say, مَا سَلَقَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ. Why are you in Jahannam? قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We weren't amongst those people who used to pray. We weren't amongst the people who used to pray. That is why we are in Jahannam. That is the ultimate punishment for people who miss out in their salah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. So number one, the first avenue of purification of the heart is salah. Next, the scholars, they say, is recital of the Quran, which is very vital for everybody to recite the Quran. And reciting the Quran, this is one of the major tools of purification of the heart. There are many benefits, right? I can't really go over all of them, but there are many benefits, especially for those people who memorize the Quran, right? Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions that on the day of Qiyamah, these people, these huffaz, they'll be given stages, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will tell these people that read, recite, and keep going up. Every ayah that you recite, that is one level in Jannah. And we all know, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned a hadith that for every letter a person recites, that is 10 rewards. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions that Alif Lam Mim is not one word. It is 3 letters. It's one word, but it's not one letter. It is 3 letters. Alif Lam Mim. How long did it take me? 1 second. Alif Lam Mim. Right away. That's 30 rewards right there. For every letter, it is 10 rewards. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. The position of a person, the position and the rank in paradise is determined by the amount of Quran he memorized in his life. So how much Quran a person memorizes in his life, that's how high his status will be. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. The Quran, it leads to Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, إِنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ يَهْدِي لِلَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ وَيُبَشِّرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ الَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ الصَّالِحَاتِ أَنَّ لَهُمْ أَجْرًا كَبِيرًا. That this Quran, it guides a person to Jannah. الَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ وَيُبَشِّرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It gives basharat, it gives glad tidings to the belief, أَنَّ لَهُمْ أَجْرًا كَبِيرًا, that for you is a great reward. The scholars, they say this great reward in the hereafter is nothing but Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. There are some Muslim surahs that a person should recite throughout the day. Very, very important. Maybe we're not able to give time to the Quran, half an hour or 1 hour, although we should. But if we're not able to give, a good portion of time to the Quran, then at least we should recite the Muslim surahs. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned in many hadith, like for example, Surah Yasin. Very, very important. The person who recites Surah Yasin in the beginning of the day. Surah Yasin, 6 pages, 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So for some of us, it might take 10 minutes. But 10 minutes, that's worth it. The person who recites Surah Yasin, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make whatever he is supposed to do throughout the day, will make it easy for that person. For example, if you have to go to work and your work is it's a physical work, it's a very tiring work, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you strength to do that work and finish that work and still have energy. For another example, for those who are students, if you have exams coming up, right? Maybe you have exams on that day. You recite Surah Yasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you success in that exam. So many benefits of Surah Yasin. Now, a person recites Surah Yasin in the beginning of the day, meaning right after Fajr, or even afterwards, no problem. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give that person tawfiq to fulfill all that person's duty of the day. Surah Al-Mulk, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned in the hadith that there is a surah in the Quran which has 30 ayats, and that is Surah Al-Mulk. What is that benefit? A person who recites Surah Al-Mulk, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he appoints an angel to protect that person, the person who recites Surah Al-Mulk before going to sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appoints angel to protect that person from witchcraft, black magic, and Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. Ayatul Kursi, it takes maybe 1 minute. A person who recites Ayatul Kursi after every salah, then nothing is stopping this person to go to heaven except for maut, except for death. What does that mean? The moment he dies, he's in Jannah. The power of Ayatul Kursi. And many of us, we know it. We know Ayatul Kursi, but we don't recite it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. The three quls, the last three surahs of the Quran, very easy. Even small kids, even bachas, they know these surahs, but we don't read it. The benefits of this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the reason why these surahs were revealed, as a matter of fact, the last two surahs, because some people, I'm going over the hadith very quickly, some people, they did black magic to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, got a piece of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam's hair and tied multiple knots and mixed it with some dirt and pieces of twigs and threw it somewhere. And then Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he was feeling very sick, and then the wahi came with these two surahs, Mu'awwadhatayn is called, right? Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam to read these surahs, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that over there in certain place in the well, under a rock, that's where your hair is, take it, untie it, and recite these surahs. So these surahs are very, very, very important in our family as well, because many of these, especially as they see, we have problem with this. We feel like some people, did black magic. Unfortunately, some people did, sent a jinn, and now, my kid or my child or myself, my husband or my wife, we became crazy. So these are very important. Imagine Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam to recite these surahs so Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam be protected from these type of evil. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. A person who respects the Quran, who recites the Quran, then this Quran will be an argument in that person's favor. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions, Al-Quranu hujjatun laka wa alayk, that the Quran will be an argument in your favor or against you. When will it be an argument in your favor? When you recite the Quran, when you understand the Quran, when you practice upon the Quran. When does it go against you? When you do not recite it as Muslims, and you go against the command of the Quran, and you disrespect the Quran, then the Quran will be an argument against you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam also mentioned different hadith that the Quran is such an intercessor whose intercession will never be rejected. Will never be rejected. The person, man ja'alahu amamahu qadahu ila al-jannah. That the person who puts this Quran in front of him, then the Quran will lead this person to Jannah. وَمَنْ جَعَلَهُ خَلْفَهُ سَاقَهُ إِلَى النَّارِ. But the person who takes this Quran, puts the Quran behind him, not physically, but what does that mean? Behind him, he doesn't listen to the Quran. He doesn't abide by the commandments of the Quran. Doesn't read the Quran. Disrespects the Quran. Whoever puts it behind him, then this will hurt him into Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. The third avenue of purification of the heart is dhikrullah. Very easy, very simple. The remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you ask the scholars, if you ask mentors, they will tell you, dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says in the Quran, Ala bi dhikrillah tatma'innul qulub. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it in the Quran, that, know that the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it brings peace to the heart. And wallahi, peace is something which each and every human being, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, everyone is looking for peace. The person who's stealing from the bank, the person who's stealing from another person, The person who's killing another person, they're also looking for peace. They're doing it for peace. People are stealing money. They want peace in the heart, but looking in the wrong place. We want peace of the heart, but we're looking in the wrong place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us exactly where to find peace. That is in dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran is also one of the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time in every action that we do. Before namaz, after namaz, we're going to work, we do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wala dhikrullahi akbar. The dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest. And there are many, many dhikr. It's in the hadith of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that the best of all dhikr is what? Is La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. And another hadith Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned the best of all dhikr is astaghfirullah. So the scholars, they made that peak between these. That why? Why? Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said La ilaha illallah is the best dhikr. Then he mentioned astaghfirullah is the best dhikr. But La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, those people who are trying their best, they know that they're trying their best to be on the right path. For him, for that person, La ilaha illallah is best. And for the person who's trying to make a U-turn in life, trying to make a U-turn, knows that he's drowning in sin. For that person, astaghfirullah is the best of all dhikr. So saying La ilaha illallah and astaghfirullah, and the dhikr we do after every namaz, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. These are the dhikr that we should do all the time. Why? When a person does dhikr and he does it with the concentration, istihdad that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in front, then peace will come into the heart. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq. Number 4 is dua. This is something which is very lacking. And again, this is something which is cultural. We look at something as culture, just raise our hand. We wait for the imam to raise his hand, so we're never going to raise our hands. Only if the imam raises his hand, in the masjid, I'm going to raise my hand. That's it. We're not going to do it. Right? But dua is something which you can do at any time, any moment. There's no time for dua. Any time. Without wudu, in the middle of the night, you wake up and you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in the Quran, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمُ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. That, call to me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's telling Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to tell the people that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, call to me, أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. That you make dua to me, I will definitely answer your dua. One time a person came to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that, Ya Nabi of Allah, أَقَرِيبٌ رَبُّنَا فَنُنَاجِيهِ أَوْ بَعِيدٌ فَنُنَادِيهِ. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala close, so that all we have to do is whisper. We whisper, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears us. Or is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very far? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very far that we have to yell to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hear it. And then the ayat was revealed. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. That when my banda, or my slave, my friend, when he asks about me, فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Tell him that I'm close. All you have to do is think. Dua doesn't necessarily mean that you have to raise your hand. If you're too tired to raise your hand, don't raise your hand, but make dua in your heart. So, Allah, I need this. Like I mentioned before, we have problems. You have problems, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are ways and avenues to get your duas, to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get your problems solved. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and something very, very beautiful over here, the Mufassirin, they say, أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will answer the call of the caller, and whenever He calls. He will answer the call of a caller, even if you're sinful. You know that you're drowning in sin. Wallahi, if you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer your call. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves that we go in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You ask a person for $1 one time, right? He might give you. Take me. You ask me for $1, I'm going to give you one time. You ask me again, I'm going to give you again. I might be a little reluctant, but I'm going to give you. You ask me a third time, I'll be like, brother, please go get a job. Right? That's us insan. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you ask Allah, the more He loves, the more He gives. The more you ask insan, the more He hates, and then He's not going to give you at all. He's going to stop giving you. He's going to curse you out also. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is total opposite. The more you ask Allah, the more He's going to give you and the more He loves you. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. This is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that was number 4. Number 5 is shukr ilallah. We should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, this is the fifth avenue of seeking purification of the heart. We do shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ. You do my shukr, you thank me for, you show me gratitude, لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, I will increase for you. I will increase for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us so many things. You look around us, health, the biggest issue. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us health. Those who are young, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we still have our parents. You ask a person who doesn't have parents, you ask them all the regrets, that person has. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us food. I was speaking about it yesterday, that despite all the sins that we commit, still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us air to breathe. Despite all the sins that we commit, still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting food on the table. Despite all the sins that we commit, sins of the eyes, sins of the mouth, sins of the heart, sins of the body parts, despite all the sin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still is giving us life, giving us chance. That's the biggest thing, chance, an opportunity. An opportunity to run and turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very, very important. Because when a person thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases. If everything is going well in your life, and you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything will go amazing. If there's, even if you don't have much, but a person thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that person's life will go very, very smooth. It will go very, very easy. Thank Allah. That is the thing of gratitude. Another thing about gratitude is, Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam mentions, "Man lam yashkuri nas lam yashkurillah." Thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's there. But we also have to thank the people. Parents, very important. Thanking the parents for whatever they did. Many times parents, they, do things against our will because it's good for us. We thank our parents. Because if you don't thank our parents, then you're not thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Man lam yashkuri nas, those people who do not thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lam yashkurillah, they're not thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to show gratitude to the people as well. Our parents, our teachers, the people of the masjid, those who are taking care of us, the imam, the khatib. We should thank these people. Then we are thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is another avenue of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last amongst the many avenues of purification is taqwa. This is probably the most important. We have a misconception of taqwa. When you ask a person what is taqwa, that person, he will say, taqwa is, going to the masjid and standing up for namaz, 100 rakats throughout the night, making dua throughout the night, fasting all day long. That is taqwa. That's wrong. That's a misconception. That is not taqwa. Taqwa is to stay away from sin. Simple. Staying away from sin, that is called taqwa. And that is one of the most important things, because when a person keeps on doing good deed, when a person keeps on doing just good deed, but also does sins at the same time, what is the example of that? It's the example that a person, he has a bucket. You have a bucket, you put that bucket under a faucet, you turn on the water, right? That bucket will be full, it will get filled up if it doesn't have a hole. The moment the bucket has a hole, just one hole, the moment the bucket has one hole, the water is not going to remain there. It's not going to stay, it's going to start to pour. That hole is a sin. That is the effect of, as I mentioned earlier, a black dot. And then another black dot. So you have a hole for one sin, you have another hole for another sin, another hole for another sin. So what happens that you're doing good deeds, you're praying your namaz, you come into the masjid, you're fasting, you're going for hajj, you're studying the Quran, you're giving sadaqah, you're doing all the good deeds, but then you're committing sin in secret. Nobody knows except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And kiraman katibin, ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. They know exactly what you're doing. They're writing it down. They're writing everything down. So a hole in the bucket, it is a sin. So patching up that hole is taqwa. Leaving those sins, that is called taqwa. And that is very, very important, because us doing good deeds, one of the purpose or the The purpose of doing a good deed is doing it and preserving it, not doing it and then losing it. That's what's happening to us. And when a person starts to commit sin, that's when all the different types of problems starts to come in life. Family of negative family affairs. We having problems in our family, but we don't realize. We tell Allah, oh Allah, I'm reciting Quran. Oh Allah, I'm praying my namaz. I go to the masjid. Oh Allah, I'm leading the namaz as well. I went for Hajj. I went for Umrah. I still have problems. We should sit down and think and contemplate that how much sin am I refraining from? How much sin am I doing? How much sin am I refraining from? So taqwa is very, very essential, very, very important in our daily lives. And I would like to end in that. That taqwa is so important. And like I mentioned, probably the most important thing. Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam mentioned in a hadith that a person will be an arm's length away from Jannah. And the riwayat comes in Bukhari Sharif. That a person will be an arm's length away from Jannah, away from heaven. But because he did, right? Amalu ahlin nar. He did an action of the people of Jahannam. Meaning he did a wrong deed. He did something wrong, although it was small. And he looked at it as insignificant. Oh, chordo. I just cursed once. It's nothing. That's how he thought about a small sin. Allah SWT comes in a hadith that this person, he was only an arm's length away from heaven, but he considered a sin to be small. Allah SWT turns him away and puts him into Jahannam. The riwayat of Bukhari Sharif. And in the other hand, a person who's an arm length away from Jannah, away from Jahannam, away from the fire, but he did something good in his life. He did something good. Maybe he did a favor for a person, and he was like, something small. How much can I get out of it? But it was great in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was enormous. It was tremendous in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved it so much that although he was an arm length away from Jahannam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turns him away from Jahannam. He puts him into Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq to realize that purification of the heart is what we're here for. We commit sins. We do so many wrongs. But the only way to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only ways to enter into Jannah is only if we purify our hearts. And these are the 6 ways amongst the many ways that the scholars, they say these are the 6th way, the 6th avenue for a person to start purification of the heart. And another thing that I would like to mention, that sometimes it's very hard for us to do things ourselves. Sometimes it's very hard for us to do things ourselves. So the scholars, they say there's 3 ways or 3 initiative that you can take to in this path. One is to sit down with the pious people. Kunu ma'as sadiqin, right? Sit down with the people of the pious and learn from them. The halaqat. Come to the masjid, have halaqat. If there's no halaqat, then grab a person who you trust. With all your iman, you trust that person, that this person can help me become a better man, become a better person. And tell him that, give me some advice. Or tell that person, it could be a scholar, a sheikh. Tell that person that, I have these sins, give me some instructions. Give me some prescription, that things I can do, I can become a better person. So that's initiative number 1. Sit down with an alim, sit down with a scholar, and tell that scholar to guide you. Make that scholar your mentor, number 1. Number 2, if you're not able to have access to a scholar, then at least a friend that you trust, so much that you tell them that, look, if you see anything wrong in me, point you out right away. That's another initiative we can take. Not everyone, we shouldn't tell everyone to do this, just one person. It could be our father, it could be our mother, many times it's not them, but it could be a best friend, a close person, that if I do anything wrong, point it out to me. And every now and then give me some advice. So that's initiative number 2. And number 3 is muraqabah. Before you go to sleep, when no one is there, in the middle of the night, when your wife or your kids, when everyone is sleeping, you're alone, you start thinking about all the sins that I committed throughout the day. All the sins that I committed. And then make a firm intention, not just a shaking, a firm intention that I will not do this tomorrow. If I lie 10 times in my business today, tomorrow I will try my best to decrease that. Things don't happen overnight, but it takes time. Like I said, purification of the heart, it's a lifelong struggle. It's a lifelong effort. You think that, okay, these are the sins that I commit. I'm gonna knock these out one by one, one by one. Wallahi, the benefit of all this is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you a life, give you such a life that people will envy. People, you'll see, how did you get this status? How do you walk around with so much peace and you're smiling, you're so happy? And then you can tell people, this is the way. This is the way to do it, purification of the heart. If a person's heart is pure, then his whole life, like Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam mentioned before, إِذَا صَلُحَتْ صَلُحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. If the heart is correct, then his whole body will be, and whatever he does will be pure. وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ. And if his heart is corrupted, then whatever he does will be corrupted. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq to keep this in our mind. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq to preach this message to others as well. أقول قولي هذا فاستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
جزاك الله خير.